and welcome to my second MCreator tutorial series. I decided to scrap the old one there because it's so old. Like, I haven't made a video on that in like a couple years. So yeah, we're starting a whole new one. I'm not using the direct latest version, but it's mostly been bug fixes, so I don't see any problem in that. So we're gonna start off creating a new mod. I'm doing this on the Minecraft Forge mod for 1.19.2. So just keep that in mind. So holiday. So here you can enter. So this is me creating a new workspace. This area here you enter the name of your mod. Tutorial mod. And here you have your ID. So you can change this independently from this, but by default, it'll try to line these two up. And here you can select your version, and over here is what type of workspace it is. I'm using Forge. Now it does take a while to get the workspace set up, so I'm gonna be pausing for that. Put that. And yes, I am doing a holiday theme. Just in general holidays, not necessarily the holiday time of year, the winter holidays, just so that you know. Okay. Alright, so 1 minute and 45 seconds and we are done. We are done with creating the workspace. So now it's time to actually start working on the mod. So I'm going to start off with an item. I'm going to make it peppermint, which means we get to play around with food settings. That's going to be fun. Okay, so this is the visual menu. We have the item texture here. You can create a texture from scratch or import one. We'll worry about that later. We have the model. By default, it just has the normal model and the model for tools. You can add in your own JSON or OBJ files. No idea. So, anyways, then we have separated special information about the item. So in here, you can type in anything that you want to be like shown in game beneath the name of your items. So let's say I type in "hello there." Then below the item's name, it would say "hello there." You can use commas to separate entries. But what if you want to type a comma? You do a backslash, then a comma, like that. Then it just does a comma. So the peppermint item. So now we have our properties. So here we have an in-game name, which is in my case peppermint. The rarity, which just determines the color of the name. So common is white, uncommon is yellow, rare is aqua, and epic is light purple. The max stack size. So in game, there's only ever 1, 16, or 64. But you can set it to pretty much whatever you want. I don't know if there's a limit or anything. Yeah, okay. Enchantability. Now, this is an interesting one. It's how common, rare, enchantments can be enchanted on the item/tool. Well, so pretty much how easy it is to enchant something. I think it also changes the chances that you get extra enchantments, but I'm not sure about that one. Item destroy speed. It's how long it takes to. It's basically how base changes how long it takes to break a block. So, 1 is a normal item, 1.5 is a start, and 2 and above is a tool designed for breaking stuff. So, melee damage, it's pretty much. So, if you have this checkbox enabled, it'll add this much damage whenever you punch an animal with it or other mob with the item in your hand. Item use count or durability. So this is just how many times you can use it before it breaks. And if you leave it at 0, it'll have infinite use. So, is item immune to fire? You check this off. Your item acts like a netherite item. It doesn't get burned up by fire. It can destroy any block. I don't actually know what that means. Okay, so it basically can break even unbreakable blocks, which is kind of weird. Does item stay in crafting grids? So basically what that means is it won't be consumed when you use it in a crafting recipe, but instead it'll stay there. Damage item instead on crafting. If you have this enabled, but say you have a tool that you can use in crafting recipes and you want it to take damage and you want it to lose durability, but not just whenever it's used in a crafting recipe. So you just click off this and this. And then we have recipe remainders. You like a milk bucket in a cake, it turns back into a bucket. So let's say you want it to turn into a slime block when crafted. So you'd check off this and put a slime blocking this thing. And if you leave it empty, it'll just stay there. Item animation only really matters if you're actually doing an action with the item. In my case, and yeah, there's a couple options. I don't really understand that one. Item use duration. It's how long it takes to be used. So, for example, how long it would take to eat for a food. Food properties. First of all, you can check if it's a food or not here. Nutritional value is how much you get. So 2 is like one of the hunger thingies, and 1 is half of a hunger thingy. That's just what I call them. So you could say you want it to do half the hunger bar, so you'd put in 10, and 20 is the whole hunger bar. By default, it's 4. Saturation is how long is basically a stat that determines how long you can go while doing stuff before you start to lose hunger. So you can determine how much you get from that. That's my best way of describing it. Eating item result. If you leave it empty, absolutely nothing will happen when you eat the item, and it'll just disappear. But you can say you want it to turn into oak planks when you eat it. You just put that there. This item of meat means it can be fed to like wolves and stuff. Is always edible. It's like the golden apple, you can eat it even if your hunger bar is full, so you check this off and it has that property too. Advanced properties, this is some complicated stuff, like really just if it has an inventory or not. It's a bit weird. Triggers. This is where you can run some basically code, except it's not actually code. It's like a weird block coding, and you can run these procedures to do stuff when you do stuff like right clicking, swinging it. For some reason it doesn't have a when eaten because they removed the food. Okay, it's time to get visual. Let's make a texture. Alright. So you can generate. So now we have the texture menu, which is a little bit simpler. So generating from a template, you can also have you can also do randomized stuff. So you can essentially pick from all of these images. Say you want this TNT thing to be your base, and so there's layers, and layer 1 is just sort of a fixed thing. It can't have any rotation, coloring, stuff like that. it's just how it is. And then you want coal after that. Yep, you can do stuff like that. It's kind of weird. You can also have it do a template heat, and say you want to make a music disc, you could just select music disc and click randomize, and it'll randomly make a music disc for you. Like that. Shears, you can make custom shears this way. I think that looks cool. You can make a custom you can have it make a hoe texture for you. You can make a lot of textures. You can even have it pre-design an ore for you, but I don't really feel like doing that. Okay, peppermint. Okay, so if you go create, it'll create them all in separate layers like that. Now I have to delete these guys. But if you click create and merge, it'll all be on one layer, which means it's a little bit harder to edit stuff. But sometimes you kind of want it all merged together. So now you have all your tools. You can undo and redo. Undo undoes your previous action. Redo, it just basically undoes and undo. So you have a pencil tool, which you can use to draw lines and stuff. Now I need to undo that. You can change the size of the pencil. Whee! And its shape. So let's say I want it. So you can make like a circle. That is not a good circle. Sometimes you kind of need a bigger thing to make a good circle. Anyways, you can also do a ring, which is a circle but it's not filled in. And a frame, which is a square but it's not filled in. There's some stuff I'm not quite sure about. So then there's line. Yeah, it's a line. Not really much to explain here. You can also change the size of the line. Yes, thick line. That could be very useful when making textures. I should keep this thing in mind. Not sure what. Oh, yeah. I do not like it when it uses smooth edge. You can do shapes with like a square, which can also be a rectangle. Could be very useful. You can also do a frame. Notice something here? A circle. Ooh, that can also be an oval. That could actually be incredibly useful. And a ring. That can also be an oval. And you can also do smooth edge for some. I'm not sure who would want this. I certainly don't. But it's there. Oh no, how am I going to get rid of this without undo? No problem, the eraser exists. It just makes anything at white, it goes over transparent. Now the interesting is that if you have a semi-transparent color, it'll only erase that much of transparency. So let's say I fill this up, but then I use an eraser, but I turn up the transparency. Now it only erases a little bit. Okay, back to opaque. Let's get rid of this. You can also do smooth edge, which kind of requires a bigger eraser. That is too big. I don't know if that actually works very well. Anyways, there's a stamp tool which you can use all of these textures that we saw before and plop them down. The fill tool. Okay, I have this circle that I need filled with black. I mean white. So we just do that. That is not perfect white. What on earth? Why does that look so weird? I'm not gonna question it. Maybe it's I don't know. looks seriously more like cream than anything else. I'm so confused. No, it doesn't look like cream. Let's try putting black in. Oh, maybe it's a smooth edge thing. Maybe there's a mention somewhere. I have no idea what's up with that. Okay. And finally, the color picker. Let's grab a random color. Oh no, I accidentally reset my color. No problem. There's a color picker. Oh, you can also change whether it picks the opacity. That's really useful. Whether it changes the transparency or not. That's so useful. Anyways, that is not yet all the tools you have at your disposal, because you have the colorize. You can recolor the layer. Desaturate. I don't know how it works. Yes. And noise tool. Maybe you need to let's try filling these in first. Desaturate. Not sure what that did. Oh, probably because it's at black. There. Okay, so colorize. Change the color. Desaturate. Maybe up the saturate. Oh, I think it's because it's already so saturated that nothing can happen when I desaturate it. So 60, yeah, it only desaturates. What a shame. Okay. Seriously. Oh wait, we still have to do noise. There we go. Cool. That's actually could be really useful. If you're trying to make something look dirty. I don't know, dirt. You're trying to make a custom dirt, you can use the noise tool. That's actually really useful. Okay, seriously, peppermint. So to start off, I'm gonna find an online image of peppermint, just as sort of a sample. Images. Here we go. There's some good peppermints. As you can see, they usually have white in the center with a little bit of red stuff on the outside. So to start off, let's do a white circle. That'll be only 6, and we'll have it 16. And woo, yeah. We're using the eraser. Oops. Circle 16. Sticky stuff. Yeah. There we go. So now we have our circle. So now we need those white lines. Red lines. Trying to make this look good is actually going to be really hard. Okay. I like it. It's coming out really well. So let's pause. Presenting my peppermint texture. Yeah, not that. Okay, so we can do two things. Save this texture, save it as a new texture. Now, since we haven't saved it yet, either one of these do the same thing. So this is what you get if you click save as new texture. You'd always get this, but if you click save this texture, you'll only get this if you haven't saved it before. So this is an item, and this is the name of the texture. You can't use spaces, no caps, so we're going to call it peppermint texture. It's an item texture. So now if we click save this texture, it'll just save it, but if we click save as a new texture, it'll create a new texture. Okay. So that's it for our texture making. So now we're going to do the properties of our peppermint. It is a common item in the food category of the creative inventory. Next text is 64. And most of this I actually don't have to do. Animation eat, administration 32. Yeah, so that's just, I guess, food defaults. Now the nutritional value is 2. Too much like a cookie. And basically no saturation. Then, okay. So that's all for peppermint. I'm gonna use this as an ingredient later, but we're gonna now. I think it'd be funny if peppermint was an ore. Plus, I mean, like, where else am I gonna get this added? Put it. So we're gonna do peppermint ore. So this is how you're gonna make. So now we can explain how you make. So now I get a chance to explain how blocks work. Much more complicated, as you can see. So to start off, we have textures. We have the visual tab. You have the block textures. You can have up to 6 of them. And here we have the block model. You can do normal. You can do single texture, cross model, crop model, and grass block. That's it? Yeah. So normal, you have all 6 textures to play around with. Single texture, only 1. Cross model is like a flower. Crop model is like wheat or carrots or potatoes or beetroot. And grass block is like a grass block. Now this one's a bit complicated. So top is the top of the block, front slash side, the front slash side. Bottom slash main is the bottom. And front slash side is the sides. And left slash overlay will be the overlay. So you know that little grass stuff that comes down, that's actually an overlay. For now, I'm going to leave it as normal. Now, block rotation mode, you can have no rotation, y-axis, D-U-N-S. Oh, I think down, up, north. Okay, so pretty much any direction. From the player's side, you can have y-axis rotation from block face. So player's side means the direction that you're facing. It'll face towards you. Block face means is based on where you what block side you're clicking on. Then there's log rotation, of course. So for now, we're gonna leave this no rotation as pitch rotation. I have no idea what that means. There's waterloggable. That's just if you can waterlog the block. So no transparency. We do not need any transparency in our thing. You can have solid, no transparency. Cut out transparency without MIP mapping. Cut out MIP. Cut out but with MIP mapping. Translation partly transparent. And the most resource having option like ice. So for now we don't want any transparency. Check this if it's connected signs. Sort of like glass. If you look through glass, you won't see more glass unless they're separated by blocks. Check this to hide fluid texture when submerged. I have no idea what that means. And then there's special information, which is just like the item. Block tint. Not exactly sure what that is. Oh, it's like it's sort of like how the grass block top and sides have that sort of different color depending on what biome you're in and if the block is tinted there. Block base, they have a bunch of defaults, model stuff, I don't know. And then you have a block item texture, which is just you have a different texture based on whether it's in your as an item or a block. And particles. You can create your own texture for breaking particles. Bounding box. I believe that's just like hitbox, pretty much. Okay, properties. Name, material, which doesn't do that much. If you want it as an ore, select rock, because that means that tool harvest levels work properly. And then there's the creative tab, hardness, which is how long it takes to break, resistance, blast resistance, slipperiness, which is how slippery it is to like ice would have a higher value, jump factor, so like honey halves your jump, so it has 0.5. Speed factor, salt and honey blocks slow you down, they have a 0.5. Luminance, this is how much light it emits. Light opacity, how much light it blocks. Not sure why it has 0 as the default all of a sudden. Not sure what's up with that. That is weird. Has gravity, so like if it's sort of like sand and gravel, you can walk through the block. If you don't collide with it, so maybe like powdered snow, I guess. Enable immersive rendering, so like a magma block, you can see it in the dark, but it doesn't actually emit light. And if it's replaceable, so sort of like how grass, you can place a block and it'll just break it. This is whether you can do that. Dropping properties, custom drop. You can say you want it to drop a redstone block. You can do that. If it's empty, it'll just drop itself. Drop amount, how many of that thing it drops. Whether you want a loot table, we'll get into loot tables later. Create a pick item. You can change what you get whenever you use pick block on it in creative mode. And empty if you want it to do itself. So tool able to destroy it. You can select what tool you're supposed to destroy it with, and the harvest level, which only works with things like rock, and I believe metal should work as well. I don't know. So here's how it works. You can just look. Anyways, requires the correct tool for drops, whether it requires this tool type that we just specified in order to drop, and if it's unbreakable. Now we have sound. You can use a vanilla sound set like ground. I'm going to use stone for this one. Or you can make a custom sound set, which can include custom sounds. But let's say you wanted everything stone except for the stepstone, which you wanted to be metal, you could do that. So I'm not going to get into the advanced stuff. I mean, there's redstone, which is pretty simple, but this is complicated stuff mostly. We have block entities. We'll get into these later. Entity and fluid storage. Energy and fluid storage is weird. Triggers. I cover this in items. You can run procedures from these. And generation. How your block generates. Now it's time to start building the peppermint ore. We are going to make it a single texture, and we're going back into the texture creator. But this time we're actually not going to start from scratch. We're actually going to import a texture. Now it's going to pop up some stuff. I'm going to pause for this until I get to the Minecraft texture file. Okay. So now back here we can go into block. And from here I'm going to search for stone and find the stone texture. Now this will import the exact stone texture instead of having to use MCreator, which is a bit weird. Now we can't use a base stone texture, it's an ore after all, so we're going to go in and edit it. And we're going to immediately save it as a new texture, peppermint ore texture. And this is a block. Now I'm still going to use the MCreator ore thing. Unfortunately, you have to do something there. You can't have the blank texture. Oh, my computer is running low on battery. Hang on. In just a sec, guys. Okay. I handled things, so for this I'm actually going to have to fit. Okay, so you can use, so in order to get around this, if you want a color texture, but you can't have the base, you could just do the same texture twice. And ta-da! No, I don't actually care about it being colored or not. Actually, it would be kind of convenient for separation purposes. In fact, I could probably make it red. Saturation. I need a little bit darker of red. Whatever. We'll just do that ourselves. So we just create a merge and ta-da! Now I'm gonna work out the colors. Okay. That and that should become white. Okay. And that can be white and that can be red. Okay. So this is my peppermint ore texture. We just save it again. Now over here we have the old stone texture. We're just going to get rid of it. And in the peppermint ore we plop in our texture. Now properties, it is peppermint ore, rock and building blocks, hardness. Now here's where we start to look things up again. I'm going to look up iron ore in Minecraft. Okay, yeah, we're going to have to look up iron ore Minecraft. Okay. Okay. So it has a hardness of 3. I'm going to go for 2.7. And it has a blast resistance of 3. We're going to do 2.8. Slippery, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's going to, we'll worry about, as we get into loot tables, we'll make it so it can also have silk touch compatibility and stuff like that. But, creative pick item, just going to be default. It's going to need a pickaxe, stone pickaxe, which is 1. Because it does require the right. Okay. Now I head over to generation. It's going to be able to replace any stone. That's what this means. Dimensions it can generate in. The surface, which is the overworld. Restriction biomes. Leave empty for no restriction. We're going to leave it empty, but you can say you want it to only spawn in the Badlands, Crimson Forest, stuff like that. Generation shape. I don't really understand this one. We're just going to leave it as uniform. Average amount of ore groups per chunk. About how many times it's going to try to generate an ore every chunk. So I'm going to go for 3. And the average number of ores in a group. I'm going to go for 8. Yeah, so these are just the default. Not sure why there's no emerald in there. Weird. Minimum generation height. We're gonna have it. That is very old data. -50 is gonna be the minimum. The maximum is gonna be 24, I guess. And any additional generation conditions you put in here. Save. So now we have peppermint and peppermint ore. How long is this video? Okay, we can probably stop here. There's plenty more that we're going to get into, but I hope you've had a wonderful day, and with that, goodbye.